In Ukraine and the international response are fast-moving and changing by the hour. Pulling all of this together for us is our correspondent, Nathan King. It's a lot to digest. Nathan, bring us up to date.
That's right, Mike. Fast-moving. Let's start with the situation in Crimea. As Jack said, it is really important area for Russia. This is the home of the Russian Black Sea Fleet, housed in the port of Sebastopol. Now, this used to be Russian territory, but became part of the Soviet Ukraine in the 1950s. Since the breakup of the Soviet Union, it's now being leased by Russia. Complicating matters, it also houses the Ukrainian Navy side by side. Wednesday, Russia announced it was making sure forces in the area, among others, were war ready and they would start conducting drills. Reports tonight say that pro-Russian militias have started setting up checkpoints on the road out of the port towards the regional capital, that is inside Ukrainian territory. Now, these aren't Russian troops, but this is a pro-Russian area. Ethnic Russians make up 70% of Sebastopol. Ethnic Russians make up 8% of the area of Crimea's 2 million people. And if we take a look at this Sepcom map, it just shows how strategically important Sebastopol is for Russia. It's a warm water port. That means it doesn't freeze over. It's in the Black Sea and also provides a gateway to the Mediterranean through Istanbul, through the Bosphorus. It's like basically important as Hawaii is to the US, Mike.
Well, you know, what's interesting is the Crimea, it's a Russian sphere of influence, as we know. So what is the U.S. and others doing about this?
They're being very cautious. The U.S., while promising aid to the Ukraine in the form of $1 billion Wednesday, that's the big news out of here in Washington, it's carefully calibrating the rest of its response. It's playing down any potential for a Cold War-style confrontation in the Ukraine. And U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in the last 24 hours had issued some soothing words.
So we're hoping that Russia will not see this as sort of a continuation of the Cold War. We don't see it that way. We do not believe this should be an East-West, Russia, United States. This is not Rocky IV.
Rocky IV reference, popular 1980s Cold War film which pitted US boxer Sylvester Stallone against a Russian, the Americans, of course, winning because it's an American movie. But the US is stressing now that both Washington and Moscow agree to respect the territorial integrity of Ukraine. Now, this is important in regards to the Crimea because it's an autonomous region, pro-Russian, and have in the past talk of separating from the Ukrainian joining Russia. And now any moves on that front could lead to a confrontation. Now, we're not there yet. It's important to emphasize. But given the pro-Russian sentiment in the region, the pro-Western moves coming from Kiev, it's not difficult to see how this crisis could escalate, Mike.
It gets more interesting by the day. When you make Sylvester Stallone references, it can't get any stranger. Thanks so much, Nathan.